everybody. I'm your host, Jaime Soretta. On this podcast, we celebrate everything local. I want to introduce you to our next guest because he has really built himself quite an empire, if I use that word, right here in Arizona. His name is Michael Marandino of the Crust Restaurant Group. I say group because you have 3 Italian restaurants, 2 pizzerias, 2 cocktail bars, more to come. Michael, congratulations on all your work.
Thanks so much.
Tell me a little bit about your story because it started with one and it started with a dream back in New York.
Yeah. I guess the story goes, I was back in New York, working in Manhattan, working on Long Island, back and forth with steakhouses. Came out here for a vacation in '98. Loved it. That vacation lasted 4 months. So we actually stayed, started working. Got back to New York, and after 9/11, I was in Manhattan. We're like, it was time. It was like, hey, I think we should go back to Arizona. So me and a couple of friends, we packed up, drove cross country, got out here in 2002. Landed a great job with the Mastros Group. I worked at Ocean Club for a long time. And then
the pretzel bread at Ocean Club.
So many things they do well there, right?
Yeah.
You know, I used to say there's not a deli or real pizzeria out here, or at least what I was accustomed to at that time. And then in 2007, we opened up our first one on Indian Bend in Hayden. It was a first Crust Simply Italian.
Because you have multiple names. Tell me about, I mentioned you have a couple of different concepts. Tell me about the Italian restaurants, the pizzerias.
So everything has evolved, right? Our first restaurant, we didn't know what it was. It was actually Crust Cafe because we had a problem with the landlord and we had to move it from a Simply Italian. But our Crust Simply Italian is an Italian restaurant that you'd find on the East Coast. Things like lasagna and tortellini with a pizzeria backbone, meaning we serve pizza and we serve individual pizzas called rusticas, but chicken franchise and chicken marsala and things of that nature. Nice elevated wine list, wines by the glass and beers. Our pizzeria concept is more of a streamlined pizzeria that you'll find in sort of, it's our spin on a New York pizzeria in Arizona. Scratch pizzas, really great sandwiches and salads, some wings, and that's really it. But streamlined, really generous portions.
And people may, everyone knows I'm a foodie. I go to the food festivals, and that's when I first started seeing your pizza because you set yourself in a different category as far as the shape. You knew it was your pizza. Why?
So the pizza rustica is what I believe you're talking about. So we do have 20-inch pizzas. We do have a Sicilian style. Our individual pizza comes from my father, right? I grew up in Long Island, and I grew up working for his pizzeria in Great Neck, Long Island, called Francesca's. And he used to do these pizza rusticas, which is these rustic in shape. Some people have called them phallic. Some people call them a wine glass or a martini glass.
I thought it was Italy.
Yeah, everybody has their own interpretation. Well, the truth is, back, 150 years ago in Sicily, there was only one sole stone oven in the middle of the town. And they used to light it once a day, and everybody used to come down and bake breads, and everybody used that oven. Well, they used to give the scraps of dough to the kids, and they used to stretch them. This is well before the people of Naples were making round pizzas, and it's obviously more than a couple hundred years ago. But these rustic shapes turned out to be these pizza rusticas, and my father started doing them back in the 80s at Francesca's Pizza in Great Neck.
Oh, so it's a nod to Dad.
Yeah, so I took that and sort of made it my own, made them a little bit bigger, put my spin on them.
Yeah, so you did go to culinary school, and then you packed up your bags with a couple of buddies. How many buddies, how many New Yorkers did you bring out to Arizona?
So there was 3 of us total.
And what, were you in your 20s or something? What were you doing?
Yeah, I was in my mid-20s, sort of having a great time.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to come out here and do something. I didn't know what that was. And I thought it was going to be a deli, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be an Italian deli, which is still in the back of my mind, hopefully one day.
Maybe coming soon.
One day, not
Another
soon.
project.
Maybe another
You have
project.
multiple projects. I have a list of them right here for us to talk about. So we'll just add that one in, another deli, another project. So you said you started working with Mastro. Was that what you first started doing here in town?
I did. I had the old Zaggett's books, the old maroon Zaggett's books. I was looking for the best, and they came up. Loved it.
Were you
great
working
experience.
front of house, back of house?
I was a server there for about 6 years.
Oh, wow. So at what point did you break out and say, I want to build my own business. I want to do something. It was 2007 when you opened your first business. How did that happen?
So I sort of being entrepreneurial. I was going around and I was going to these restaurant supply houses to understand what they had. And I saw a guy with this big stone pizza oven. And being a New Yorker, I actually had some cash on me. And, we made a deal right there for a big oven. And I told my wife one day, I said, hey, we have this oven being delivered to the house. And she's like, what are you talking about? So I bought the oven first. And then we signed a lease months later. I said, hey, I think this is going to be a great oven. She's like, what are you doing? I said, no, we're going to open up a pizza place one day.
Where were you working in this time when you bought that oven? Where were you working?
I was a server at Mastro's.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
With the oven. And it sounds like the way people might spend their weekend out antiquing. You were out visiting the restaurant stores?
Something along those lines, exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
I found a pizza oven in the back of a corner of a restaurant supply house.
Okay, so the oven came first.
Came first, then we signed a lease. I should be what not to do to get there, but that's how the story goes.
Yeah, well, you followed the lead of the oven. I mean, you had to give it a space to be in.
Yeah.
So when you brought home that oven, obviously your wife knew something else would be coming soon.
Yeah, she, I was always talking about opening a restaurant, and one thing led to another. I just said, hey, if we have this, it's the hard call, what it is, right? And we had this, and then everything came from there. We were always looking at different places, but our first place we decided on, not decided, it was the only place that a landlord took a shot on us, was on Indian Bend and Hayden, next to Sakana Sushi. We started there, and we were there for 11 years.
Oh, wow. So people know that area, very neighborhoody area.
Yeah.
And with your restaurants, you really want it to be a neighborhood hang. You want the price point accessible to the people where you can pop in a couple times a week, come say hi to you or whoever the regulars are. Why is that so important to you?
It's a big deal. Even charging a little bit extra, raising prices is what I try not to do. I'm the last person trying to do it. I'd rather give this big value, this wow factor. So when you come in for a piece of lasagna, you're like, wow. It's usually 2 meals. Like our chicken Parmesan, things are over the top. I believe in that. It just goes with the neighborhood authenticity of what we're doing, that very East Coast style of restaurant.
Yeah, the stop in. You stop in.
Yeah, come in. Hey, we're just going to go to Crust. A lot of people celebrate. A lot of people have first dates, but there's so many people that come to us religiously once or twice a week. Our bar is, hey, you see the same type of faces, and then new faces sort of trickle in there. Like, oh, this is a great place just to come in, have a drink, have a slice. Type of thing.
And you met your wife out here in Arizona.
I did.
So she grew up here.
She grew up here from Seattle originally.
Yeah. So your places make an impact on a community. When you move into a community, when you open up in Mesa and Chandler, it's a ripple effect in these communities. How does that feel to know that you're kind of, becoming a landmark, a space where people go and anchor in those little towns?
Humbling, right? It really, truly is. We just want to be this neighborhood place. We like shaking hands. We like saying hello, kissing people, saying, hey, how are you? How are the kids? As authentic as we can be. East Coast, it comes from a sincere part of who we are. Just serving great food. We're not the small portion type of place. We're good scratch Italian food, big portions. We believe in it. And it comes with this social impact of the neighborhood where everybody's sort of just happy to be there, right? We really try. Our service, we want it to be very neighborhood casual, highs and buys from across the room. As people are walking out, we'll see you later. We're not stuffy or pretentious at all.
Yeah. And your wife comes from hospitality background too.
We met her in a bar.
Oh, yes.
So my friend was the general manager. She was the cocktail server, and I used to come in for drinks after work in a shift. And I said, hey, who's that? And the
rest is history.
The rest is history.
But you mentioned the words cocktail bar because, the cocktail is very celebrated now here in Phoenix, and it gets a lot of play, but it didn't always. You opened a cocktail bar before it was cool. Tell me about this.
So we signed a lease down in Chandler in a historic San Marcos Hotel in 2014, and we heard rumors that there was a basement down there, and we had to sort of break through the basement, and there was a hole with a ladder and the whole story. So it's a 110-year-old building, and it was an actual speakeasy, and there's about 2,500 square feet downstairs, which we converted into what's now called the Ostrich.
Was there an interesting door or some kind of strange access?
There was a hole in the ground with a ladder from 1912.
Oh my gosh.
And, you know, the story goes that this was an actual speakeasy and there was tunnels and hotel guests and the whole thing. But I was doing, I went to New York and I thought we were going to do a wine bar or something really cool. And all of a sudden we saw that some of these cocktail bars are doing these nods to these old, cool, classic cocktails, an old-fashioned Manhattan. This is going back in, 2014, 2015, before it sort of got the notoriety that it has again.
Right.
And found a great team to work with at the time, and we opened up the Ostrich.
What was that like? I mean, that space must have been so. Did you find some interesting relics from the past there?
I mean, it was dirt floors. It was dirt floors.
Yeah.
It was nothing. So it was boarded up from 1955 to 2014. At one point, it was. We had everybody in Chandler saying, hey, this is going to be really, really difficult. We had my investor group and my partners at the time going, you sure you know what you're doing? And I'm like, no, but we're going to try to make it happen. And that's what we did.
And you did.
We
and
did.
So we mentioned that's in Chandler. Tell us where exactly is located, the Ostrich.
So in downtown Chandler at the San Marcos Hotel, right across from Santan Brewery.
So Gilbert will not be untouched by you as well. So the Blue Heron as well. What location is this? Where is this? And what do you offer there?
So Williams Field and Wrecker, we opened up Crust in 2021. And it's... the Blue Heron is not an opposite of the Ostrich, right? The Ostrich is an amazing bar. It really is. People go down there like, wow. But it's got a little bit of grit to it, right?
Yeah.
Where the Blue Heron is more of this opulent, really pretty place. And it goes with what's the surrounding us.
Yeah.
That Gilbert was a brand new development. So we wanted to do something super sexy, higher end a little bit. And just really pretty, opulent type of build out.
Is it part of that development that's right there? I'm blanking on the name of it.
Is the name of the development.
Yes, Verde, at Cooley Station.
At Cooley Station, that's us.
Thank you. That's a great. Okay, so I'm getting a little dressed up if I go to the Blue Heron.
It's not meant to be high end.
Yeah.
It comes in. I mean, even our price points, we same thing. We try to keep our price points down, and we do a really good job. But the room itself is beautiful. But yes, a lot of women do come in. You see people come in dressed up, and it's awesome because it's a great little cocktail bar in Gilbert.
What's your favorite cocktail bar or cocktail there?
So I stick to the basics when I do it. You're right. I think a good old fashioned, really, there's something to be said about it. These guys get so creative what they're doing. They're beyond mixologists. They're so creative, and we have a great team down at the Blue Heron. But I'm more of a wine guy. Give me a good scotch. Give me a good old fashioned. That's sort of
it.
But I'll try everything.
Yes,
right?
of course, you have to.
It's part of the R&D.
Yes, for sure. I remember that one of your mixologists from the Ostrich was up for some award. I think it was one of those bars against bars.
There's been a few. There's been a few of them. I'm humbled to say I've had a great team, and I love when I see these guys getting successful and doing different things.
It sure is cool what they can create. I guess you like birds because you've got the goose too. What is the goose coming soon in Scottsdale?
So next to each one of our restaurants, our Simply Italian restaurants, we're trying to do these cocktail bars. And
is this a space that's adjacent already, or are you creating?
It is. It was a little boutique clothing store, and we're under construction right now in the Goose in Scottsdale, and that's on Via de Ventura and Hayden.
Okay. All right, we know where that is because I had my first job over there at the TCBY.
There you go.
I drove to that little area very, very often. And then in Mesa. So you are in Scottsdale, you are in Mesa, you are in Chandler. You have a couple new projects coming there soon. The Nightingale, and then what is this dessert shop?
Bumbolino. Bumbolino is an Italian donut and gelato shop, and it's also going to be the entrance to our speakeasy.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Go get a dessert and then go have a cocktail.
Or have something maybe after. We're probably going to do some savory type of donuts as well.
Oh, very cool. So a lot of the people who I talk to are just kind of getting started. They're just out of the farmer's market. Maybe they're just into that first brick and mortar. How do you grow to something like this? I see it's been 17 years. It's been some time. But how do you keep reaching, expanding, and growing into these new spaces, new cities?
me and my partner have talked over the years of different ways of what to do, and a lot of it is just go to work, right? And we've said this over the years. Hey, yeah, we don't want to. Nobody wants to, but especially in the beginning, it's the relentless approach of going to work. And doing more. So when you're at work and you're in, at our first restaurant, we're like, what is there to do? I don't want to clean this. I don't want to do this. And you don't. You become lazy, but you have to keep doing things. You have to look at any 4 feet of your restaurant and say, is this the most optimal way we could do this? How can we make this better? Whether it's the dish pit, whether it's the back of the house, how we're hanging knives, it's every single detail. And that's what we continue to do today. There's so many things to do in restaurants, right? It's an amazing job, very little, but we love it, right? It's so much fun at times, but going to work is your biggest thing. People just have to go to work. And then when you're done working, you obviously have to have that work-life balance, which is really hard, especially at the beginning. Then there's hours to do on the computer. There's hours. So when everybody goes to sleep at night, when the wife and kids go to sleep, you need to not go to sleep. You need to work. You need to look. You need to learn. You need to listen to podcasts. You need to go and, educate yourself. Go to the restaurant shows. There's, ones in Vegas, Chicago, Orlando. You got to do all that. You have to continue to do all that.
So always learning, just like when you were antiquing at the restaurants and stores on your free time. You were sourcing information is what you were doing before podcasts and all those things were available for you. So you were sourcing information. So always looking at, and I like to call it tightening the screws. Just making things more efficient, elevating what you can.
We're still tightening.
Yes, I mean, work in progress always, right?
Yeah.
What would you tell that person who's got that, grandpa or dad's recipe that they really want to do something cool with, and they haven't made that jump yet. They're not sure how to make that jump out of going from that full-time job that they have, that they can count on that paycheck, to making that jump into, this is all me.
They got to realize it's I don't want to say it's less about the product, right? It has so much to do with the product. The food and service are your backbone, right? But your business model of how you get that food out consistently and how you're doing that when you're not there on a Sunday, because that's, everybody wants off on Sundays. And things that you have to work on is not just, oh my God, this is the best plate of pasta. I can make this at my house and it's a 10. Well, you're not going to be making that plate of pasta one day. You're not going to be doing those things. It's the systematic approach to the restaurants. Everything has a system, whether it's pouring a glass of wine, pouring a beer. There's more systems. And how you treat employees, it's one thing to treat them one way. You have to establish that family mentality. You have to be so engaging with them. They are your family. And they are everything. They're awesome, right? They're amazing people, and you have to just respect them and give them a place that's awesome for them to work and make money, right? They have to have this thing that they love coming here, and they don't want to deal with BS and stuff like that, which comes with the turf, right? It's the restaurant business. At times it's tough. But they're such a cornerstone of what we do, and teaching them how to make that plate of pasta or how to pour that beer or whatever it is, and that correct approach. Consistency is, in my opinion, the hardest part of the restaurant business. Constant consistency, and that comes from service or food or whatever you're doing. How you answer a telephone. Right, we try to have everybody smile when they answer a telephone, because when you're smiling,
you sound joyful,
you sound cheerful. But every now and then you're like, "Crust, can I help you?
What do you want?"
And it happens. It
still happens. How many employees do you guys have?
I think we're in that 180 number.
Any real long-term employees?
Yeah, we have a couple spectacular ones. In the back of the house, we had people started with us as dishwashers. We have two gentlemen that started with us as dishwashers. One is on our new pizzeria concepts, and he is the KM there.
KM. Kitchen manager.
Yeah, there you go. And the other one's our KM at our Scottsdale location. They've been with us for years. Have plenty of different people that have been with us, from dishwashers to finance guys to catering people that have been with us for a real long time.
On a podcast I just recently did, we talked to some new business owners who mentioned about permits. Since you've worked in so many different cities, what advice would you give people who are looking at, I've never done this before, what's the kind of city permits do I need? Where do I even go to find out what I need before I build out?
So the same thing. It's this relentless approach. Yeah. So, I remember the AZDOR, Department of Revenue. I remember the first time I found out, okay, I have to pay these people, I have to pay taxes. Like, you go down there, you wait in line, and you start asking these ridiculous questions. And you start asking, hold on, so can you tell me, like, well, when your sales come, you have to do this. And you're writing these things down. And these people are looking at you like you have no time for it. You have to do the same thing with permits. You have to understand what the Board of Health, you have to go down to the Board of Health and you have to schedule it. And you have to go down to the city. So I need a patio permit. Oh, and I need a dog-friendly patio permit. So what do I need? You have to ask these questions. And then over time, when you start your first one, second one, you understand it. Oh, okay, I need this permit, and this is how I go about it. I've been laughed out of plenty of places, but you have to go there sort of humbled and sort of, I'm just learning.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I still pull that often.
Hey, we always are. Work in progress, as we said.
You just got to go, and you just got to continue to show up. Go to work. Yeah. Show up. Put in those hours. If you're in this business,
right?
Which, if you have the opportunity to get out. But
why do you say that?
Well,
why do you say that?
I say that tongue in cheek.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
It's such an amazing business, but it's so hard. A lot of people don't know how hard it is. Why these restaurants fail? They don't realize how hard it is. It's that if you're not ready to put in your 80 hours, 100 hours, this is not the business for you. And if we still do that today, and it's different work. And sometimes it's a wine tasting, which sounds like so much fun.
But you got to stay astute, take notes,
well,
think about it.
Trying to drink 15 glasses of red wine or 15 samples of red wine at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then have to work.
Yeah, and then put in your order.
Punishing. And I make that comment because just as long as you understand what you're getting into, has less to do with how great you could cook or how great service you are. You have to have your people under you to do it. And I'm so fortunate of the team that we've built.
Did you think you would grow to this big?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes, because I always said if I'm going to do one, I want to do 10.
Oh, really? Oh, my gosh.
It's been something early. It's been something early that I said.
Funny? How early in the game were you saying that?
Yeah,
that pizza oven?
That first year or so, because, you hear the thing of buying yourself a job. Yeah. And I never wanted to buy a job. I love what we do, but I said if we could do one in a great neighborhood, right? I don't want to leave Arizona. I love it. I love the local, but I feel like Chandler, Gilbert, Peoria, maybe Goodyear, things like that. And we want to try to do that. I don't want to grow to this huge restaurant group, right? I would love to. I'd love to follow the Sam Foxes.
Don't we all? Might as touch that guy.
But it's taken me 17 years. I'm really happy to where we are, and 10 has sort of been the goal.
Yeah, and doesn't it feel cool to do that in your adopted hometown?
It's awesome. It's awesome. It really is.
And then raising the family, you're in this neighborhood. What neighborhood are you in? Where do you live? I
live on sort of 56 and Bell Road, right up in there.
Okay, so you're over. Maybe you hit the. Which one are you bringing the family to? If it's a family,
the Crust Scottsdale's always been the baby. Has always been the first one, even though we moved it. That's the first one. And now our two pizzerias. We have one on 16th Street in Bethany Home, and one on Baseline and Rural in Tempe. So they're a little bit. I don't want to say fast casual, but they're definitely a little bit more streamlined. So we've stopped in there now a few times. They're brand new. One opened in August and one opened November 1st this year.
Okay, so when we come to your restaurant, what are we eating? What are we ordering?
What are you in the mood for? What do you like?
Well, you mentioned lasagna.
So lasagna and a glass of red wine is always a solid place to start, especially if you're ending your evening, looking for a good night's sleep. We do have some incredible salads, and I say that like, I can't believe you just said salads, but we have some like a farro salad, which is like a Mediterranean farm salad with fire roasted artichokes. Our pizza's our staple, right? We're a backbone we believe in pizza, and that's what we do. The Italian food that we serve is so authentic that you're going to eat this and be like, this is like the grandma makes, right? That's really what we do. In the summer, it's a glass of white wine, bruschetta, and salad. As it gets a little colder, it's that red wine and lasagna, and then walking over and having a cocktail at the Ostrich or Blue Heron.
So I did ask, do you like birds? Why all the birds? Why the goose? Why the blue heron? Why? I know ostrich for Chandler, obviously.
Well, we found out early that speakeasies back in the 20s were named after an animal.
Oh.
Right? A blind tiger, a white goose, or whatever it was. And it was supposed to have a correlation with the building. Well, our building, the ostrich, the room actually housed ostrich feathers. And so instead of being Mike's Bar or Joe's Pub, we called it the Ostrich. And then when we found out that we were doing a second one in Gilbert, we started looking around and started understanding, well, the blue heron is this beautiful, sexy bird that's in the Santan Valley. Now
well
the goose,
done.
There's that pond back there. There's that lake back there.
Yes,
there's geese everywhere.
The Scottsdale goose, and some of them are a little, aggressive. The Scottsdale goose. Oh, that's right. Anything else you want the people to know about you guys?
Come on down and say hello.
Yeah.
We'd love you to stop by. We're humbled at the opportunity to be here to serve these neighborhoods. We love what we do. We love our food. We love our staff, and it really does show. Come on down and try some food.
Yeah. So what are you loving in Arizona right now? When you're not working, what are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you doing? What are you reading? As you're continuing to research, what are you looking at?
So hiking has been sort of new for me and my wife over the last 2 years. We didn't do it in COVID, but after COVID we started. So that's been sort of new. I've been to the Global Ambassador now about 3-4 times. And I'll tell you, this is one of the coolest places ever. There's so much going on that they do right over there. I just take a little bit from them. I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. But there's restaurants everywhere in Phoenix, right? So popping into some to check them out. I mean, Ocean 44 to me is always going to be a spot. I know those are the higher end spots, but even around there, there's so much you could look and learn. And farmers markets are a big one for me. I love doing those with the kids and the dog and stuff like that, and enjoying this weather.
I know, isn't it fun?
Spring training game this week. Hopefully we'll sneak one in.
Good. Yes. It is a delightful time of year here in Arizona, and so much fun to just be outside, like you said, grab some good grub. Folks usually have friends in town, and I love taking them to our local spots with people who really are dedicated to their community like you. So Michael Marandino of Crust Restaurant Group, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Jamie's Local Love, the podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Soretta. Our technician is Tom Heidinger. Our editors are Lorraine Shearing and Gina Coy. Do you know a business worthy of some local love? Email me at jsoretta@azfamily.com. Follow us at facebook.com/Soretta and Instagram @Soretta News. Make sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review, please. And tell your friends about the podcast and the businesses we feature to show your local love. You can find us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
Jamie's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.